And welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. We have Craig, Don and Pablo here. Pablo all smug and World Cup winning, happy. We'll let him have it now. We'll let him have it. Let's get your questions in. Understandably, the first one is for you, Pablo. It says, first, I'm sorry for inadvertently calling you a cheese a few days ago when I accidentally typed provoleta instead of zabaleta. My bad. Question, how did you celebrate the win?
I remember that one. That was when I was in Qatar, yes.
Yeah, I remember too.
Yes, I remember that one. Okay, I said apologize. Thank you. No worries.
Yeah, that confused everybody.
It confused everybody.
Because it's provoleta and provolone.
Yeah,
we were
because
like,
that's the Spanish for provolone.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, so that's why I was
Provoleta is
like,
a Spanish.
And then I thought, is there a nickname about Pablo that I don't know about? Or
Probably.
Is it actually an insult in Argentine that I don't know about? And I just didn't know what to do. So anyway, Jogo Taka says sorry. So there you go, apology accepted.
Okay,
but he also goes on to
worries.
ask you, Provoleta, how did you celebrate the win? Were you out on the streets? Were you jealous of Aguero, who got to celebrate on the pitch?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I was so jealous about Sergio Aguero. I don't know. He was celebrating like he scored a hat-trick in that game. Incredible. But I didn't have the chance to go down and be on the pitch. Would have been amazing to see some of the lads, but unfortunately my flight was 4 o'clock in the morning, so I just went back straight to the hotel. And I took a taxi to the airport. So I didn't really have so much time for celebration. A couple of beers in the hotel with some of the fans, and that was it, yeah.
Man of the people.
Man of the people.
Salt Bay was on the pitch.
Oh, dear.
Well, Don,
Yeah,
I'll get your thoughts on
yes.
Salt Bay. But, Don, I've not actually spoken to you. We haven't spoken to you since Argentina won the World Cup. What did you make of it?
I know. Pablo's never going to be this busy in his life. He is going to be raking it in for the next 4 years. Everyone's going to be wanting to talk to him. Get ready for the cash, Pablo. Well done, mate. It was incredible, Kay. The World Cup was incredible. It was. It's just a brilliant watch. I thought everyone that played their part. I thought the football was amazing. You get to see from back home. I would love to be there. Bucket list for me being on side of the World Cup. You get to see it from your TV, the culture, the fans, right from Morocco to the Senegalese fans to the Argentina fans. They all played their part. It made like a fantastic World Cup. And the story was just written for Messi, wasn't it? I mean, we were chatting before to Pablo after the first game against Saudi Arabia when Argentina lost. I thought there's no chance. Not even a 1% chance Argentina are going to win the World Cup. And all of a sudden, fast forward, 30-odd days later, and Argentina and Messi gets his World Cup. I mean, congratulations. Brilliant.
I don't think there's many countries where you'd see a response like that. I mean, you would see people out, but and the numbers in a lot of countries, but not probably to that level. That was incredible. But just think about it, if you're an Argentinian player, you look at Frank Leboeuf. Frank Leboeuf has been dining out on his World Cup since 1998, and he's still dining out. You think about it, Christian Romero, Tagliafico, all these guys, they're just going to be dining out in this.
And you know what? They have Pablo to thank because he never gave a prediction, so he never jinxed it. It's because of you, Pablo, that Argentina won the World Cup.
You see, never before any important game, no prediction, superstition, always.
There you go. Craig, if fortunes changed and Scotland won the World Cup while you were playing, how long would it take for you to go back to your club?
Oh, quite a while. Well, it took long enough anyway after an international game to get back. Oh, my God, I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. Because I know what it was like after, we were playing the FA Cup finals, and I know what it was like after, we won the league at Celtic for the first time in 10 years. I know what the celebrations were like then. So God knows what it would have been like if you're playing for a country that wins the World Cup. But we're Scottish. Think about all those great players, Don, that Scotland have had over the years.
It'll happen, Craig. It'll happen, man. Come on, positive. It'll happen.
Graham Souness and Kenny Dalglish and Alan Hansen, all these brilliant
Craig, one of my twins, Dougie, who's 6, he wants to play for Scotland at a World Cup. He wants to play for PSG and Scotland. He's going to take us there, mate.
There you go, Dougie. It's all down to Dougie.
Blame Dougie. Can you imagine? Well, it doesn't take much for it doesn't take much for the Scots to go out and have a few beers anyway. So can you imagine?
Well, Dougie won't be having a few beers right now, though, will he?
Not yet.
No,
Stay off them.
We'd like to think not.
A few years to go for that. Pablo, besides Messi and Emi Martinez, who do you think was the most standout player for Argentina, and which player surprised you the most?
Good question. I think Julian Alvarez, he's been outstanding. He didn't start for Argentina at the World Cup. But then I think it was again Mexico's second game at the group stage. Came on in the second half. It's been really good, and I think Scaloni gave him the trust and the confidence to carry on playing. He's just he's kept his place in the starting 11 for the next games, and he's been really good. A few great goals, and he was working really hard off the ball. His work rate's been unbelievable. So I think he's been one of them. And then I think Enzo Fernandez was the player I was more surprised about how good he's been in the World Cup. Only 21 years old. Same, he started on the bench for Argentina, but then he showed up and then showed personality, great football, great technique. He scored a beautiful goal against Mexico. I mean, Alexis McAllister, I think three of them, I would say, because 21, 22 years old, World Cup, one of the biggest events in football, and they shown really, really good football. So I would say these three players I was very impressed with.
Those three were excellent, but I tell you as well, as he found his fitness again, we saw the best of Rodrigo de Paul. Yeah. Who struggled a little bit earlier, and he really looked as if he was his old self. And up until his mistake, Otamendi, up until the mistake, but I thought Romero as well. Romero's decision making at times, some of the times when he just stepped out at the right times, and I thought Romero was excellent. Look, I always said this, you know, the problem was never Lionel Messi. The problem was, for him, was how was everybody else going to stack up? Because he can't control that, really. He can't control how the keeper plays. He can't control all these other things. And these players played in the game of their life, played the game of their life. And Pablo mentioned the young Enzo Fernandez, 21 years old, playing the World Cup final. Good grief. He used to get nervous playing in the reserves at 21. He was playing the World Cup final. I mean, they all stepped up. It's amazing.
Don, what's the biggest difference you've noticed about Manchester United since Erik ten Hag became the manager?
I think the biggest difference is they've finally got a boss that's got the control of the dressing room. The fans certainly believe in what Erik ten Hag's saying. He's been ruthless in one or two decisions. He picked fights early on with some big players. He eventually won the biggest matchup of all against Ronaldo, and he forced him out the door. Ronaldo wanted to leave on his terms because he knew Erik ten Hag was the boss. So I think for everyone now, and I bring Jadon Sancho into that conversation because he's the next one that I think Erik ten Hag's got to get going because he's not training with the first team. He didn't play any part tonight in the game against Burnley. He's away training on his own because he's not mentally and physically fit. So ten Hag as a manager seems to me like an old school manager where, okay, he's in charge. And if you don't follow his line and you don't toe the line, he'll have you out the door. He's proved that with Ronaldo. So that can only be good for a dressing room.
Stamp the authority, Erik ten Hag.
If I didn't know better, I'd say Don was watching our ESPN Plus show earlier on Man United, because that's what we were talking about. But he wasn't, because he's not in the US. And I think that was the thing we talked about. It was like every player now knows who's making the decisions. He's been backed. He was backed when he left Ronaldo out of the team. He was backed when he threw a tantrum going down the touchline, and he was backed when he gave that interview to Piers Morgan, which ultimately filled his fate. But filled his what did I say there? Sealed.
It's all right. I've said 365
sealed his
days
fate,
a week.
and then he went to his owners and went, "Listen, I can't have him at the club," and they said, "Right, we need to deal with this." Simple.
I thought it might just be a little term that I didn't know. I was like, oh.
What's that?
Sealed his fate.
Feel reset.
Say.
It's been a long day. Or as Ray Stubbs, or as the great Ray Stubbs from BBC once said to me, when I said to him, it's been a long day, Ray, and he says, every day working with you is a long day, Craig. So there's no comeback to that.
I won't
See,
say anything.
Pablo's switched off now. He's just counting the cash. He's just thinking, I've got a show tomorrow, I've got a show the day after.
Well, you've got a question here,
No,
Pablo.
I need a rest. I need a rest. The 4 weeks at the World Cup has been incredible. I need a rest. I need to get my kids and just go 4-6 days away. I will do that. Then we'll come back and we'll continue working, absolutely.
How are you as a golfer, Pablo?
With the golf?
Did you just say you're going to play golf again?
He
Did I
said,
mishear
no,
it?
you said you were going to some coast.
Ah.
No, yeah, some course. No, away from home. No, I'm not. I don't play golf. No, sorry. No,
Okay.
just, I'm not good at this, no.
All right.
That's the
I
one
missed
thing that
one.
Argentinians can't do. All right, Angel Cabrera, we won't talk about him. He's having a few problems at the moment. Won the Masters.
It's too expensive, Grace. That's too expensive for our country to play golf. No, we cannot
It's all
afford to
right.
play golf.
You're cashing in
Only
on
a
all
few
your
months
TV
and that's
appearances
it.
now.
Football, it's not golf.
Hang on, aren't they polo champions as well or something, Argentina? Don't they do well at polo?
Well,
Yeah,
I don't know.
really
if
good at polo, yes.
Yeah.
Things you didn't need to know today.
That's true. That's true.
How did Don know that? Don, how did you know that?
No, I don't know, mate. It's just in the back of the brain somewhere. Polo's not my sport, not my bag. But I remember watching. I'm sure the Argentinians are good at polo. I think.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
It's at
Yeah,
golf.
you're right
They're
on,
good at
yes.
partying, that's for sure.
Well, they are at the moment.
Maybe a little bit too good.
Go on, scrub that question.
All right. Haaland just watched his greatest rival score a hat-trick in the World Cup final. He's been resting and kicking the ball around with Kevin De Bruyne. Guaranteed goals against Liverpool tomorrow.
Well, Kevin De Bruyne wasn't resting. Although he wasn't playing particularly well, but I think not by his standards anyway. But I think the whole Belgium thing was a little bit of a mess behind the scenes from the get-go, and I don't think that helped. And I think De Bruyne's performances, in my opinion, were partly down to the frustration of what he knew was around him. So hopefully from City's point of view, he's back and fresh and ready to go. I'm sure he is. Actually, before the World Cup, I thought he looked a little bit tired in one or two of the games. So I'm not quite sure what the City manager's got in store for him in terms of giving him a rest, because they do. I mean, if you need one guy, you do need him.
Is that going to be a thing now, Haaland against Mbappe? That's what it sounds like, right?
Well, I'm sure we'll do that.
I'm sure we will. All right, FIFA want to make the World Cup every 3 years. Would you agree to make it every 2 years, considering more countries to participate in it, and give up the Euros and the Africa Cup of Nations and the Copa America, etc., etc.? Don?
That's the most ridiculous question I have ever heard on this show. Give up
That's saying something.
Give up all them competitions to have a World Cup every 2 years? No, you can't. It would be disrespectful to the African Cup of Nations for sure. The Euros has got its own place. Just leave it as it is. 4 years works.
Pablo?
Yes, to be honest, I think the World Cup is the biggest event in football, and you can really see how the fans just go in a competition like that, and they all go crazy. And I think I've been in some of the meeting from FIFA when Arsene Wenger, they were just looking at maybe change the schedule of the World Cup every 2 years and all that. And some of the points were okay, but I think every 4 years now, from what I could really see in the World Cup, is good. It's good. Maybe 3 years could be a big chance. I don't know, but 2 years maybe too soon. Yes.
Would take a bit of the sparkle off it, wouldn't it? Every 2 years a World Cup.
Yeah. Look, part of the whole stick around the World Cup, as Pablo said, it is the pinnacle for any player to go and play in that platform, and you're seeing that with a lot of the games as we have every 4 years. But the also part of it is you fight to get there. through your, whether it's CONMEBOL or European qualification or African or whatever, or Asian, the Asia qualification. You fight to get there, and when you don't, you have to wait for that fight again. You have to feel that, and you can have too much of a good thing. 10 months' time we'll be qualified again. There's another World Cup. Part of it is, in somebody's career, normally when you think about it, for those guys that don't play for 20 years or 15, there might be 2 or 3 opportunities to go, and then it's gone. That's what makes it even more special. Is the fact it's not easy to win. Clearly, it's also sometimes not very easy to get there. See Italy, who have had back to back with all those players that they've got, and with their history of winning the competition. You can't take that away. It's just too much. I think that's the problem across the board now. It's just everybody sees these things: Champions League, the money, the TV deals, all these competitions. We need more. I don't think
it would feel as well. It would feel as well, Kate. It would feel as well. All the guys that have played, like Miroslav Klose, and all these guys that have got all the records and the goal scoring records by playing in a World Cup every 4 years. If it was every 2 years, you'd be fast forwarding about 4 or 5 World Cups time, and all of a sudden all them records from 10, 15, 20 years ago would just all be smashed, because there'll be a World Cup every 2 years. So it would feel as though the guys who played in the past, who had all the records, to the younger viewers, would just get forgotten about. It would be a shame.
Yeah, so everybody's against it pretty much here. Yeah. That's fair enough. All right.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.